Donald Trump may not seem as a likely person you might, or most of America for that matter, vote for. However, I am going to try to convince, in the next several minutes, you and anyone else watching or listening to this video that he is actually the best chance of America right now. And I know that too many of you might seem like an impossible thing to prove, but, well, I might as well try, right? First of all, let's look at the overall statistics of Donald Trump. He's a businessman. A lot of people have come out and said that, oh, he can't handle his business very well because he's gone bankrupt 4 times. And, well, yes, I will not refute that. That is solid evidence. Look at the statistics. He has gone bankrupt 4 times out of several dozen companies under his name. So 4 out of several dozen times, I think that's a pretty good statistic. Nonetheless, he has even managed to pull some of those companies out of the dirt and actually managed to sustain them. A lot of people have said, well, he's a madman. He's clearly a racist or sexist or etc. Those are simply claims made by the popular media that if you took your time, you would simply find out that are not true. Donald Trump has never advocated racism towards any group. Keep in mind that Muslims are not a goddamn race, they are a religion. And even if you want to play that religion card, he has called for a temporary ban on Muslims, which is very understandably made, because if you look all over the world, there are acts of radical Islamic terror, and they're certainly not coming from Christians or Jews or Buddhists. But we'll get that at a later point. Donald Trump is a person who is very controversial. He is controversial for a number of reasons, and we'll go over them right now. So, first of all, people say the most superficial things, like he has hair that's bad, which is simply a very, very superficial thing to say. Very, very stupid, very misthought. Criticizing a person's appearance is about the last thing you can do before you admit defeat. Because that's very shallow, that's stupid, and believe me, if Donald Trump supporters would have wanted to, they could easily criticize any of his opponents' appearances. But rather than comparing Donald Trump just to these facts, let's compare him to the other candidates, Clinton and Sanders, which we could compare Cruz to, but let's be honest, Trump is most likely to get the Republican nomination. Whether or not you're a Democrat or a Republican, simply looking at the statistics shows that he will most likely get the nomination. So let's compare his history next to the other. Clinton has been Secretary of State and is a very, very solid choice for many people due to the fact that she has experience with this. However, I simply don't think this is a relevant thing to look at. Hillary simply has this title just because she was married to Bill. Now, Bill wasn't a very, very controversial president, but he was alright. We could certainly all agree that Bill Clinton was an alright president. However, I think we can agree that if Bill didn't want her, do you really think America wants her? The other thing Hillary has going for her is that she's a woman. And I personally have nothing against a woman president. That will be great if America is the first country to get a woman president. I simply have something against wasting that title of the first woman president in American history to Hillary Clinton. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Bernie Sanders, former congressman, or I believe senator for Vermont. Very, very anti-establishment candidate who bases his campaign on democratic socialism, which, if you viewed my previous video, is a bunch of bull, if I might say so myself. Democratic or any kind of socialism never has worked, never will worked, never will work. Sorry, and the simple reason for it is that socialism and communism, for that matter, and a lot of people think socialism is different from communism. No, socialism is the first step towards communism. It's great on paper. However, you can look through history, through simple, basic knowledge of economics, that it cannot work in a society where humans are greedy and do not care for the major political picture. And you might say, well, we'll make humans care, or, well, if humans care, this is going to happen. Yes, but look at reality. Communism, socialism, or any kind of controlled economic market has not worked under democracy. The only thing close to communism or socialism that actually works is under oppressive rulers who mistrust and misinterpret, or I guess you could say, do not at all give two craps, I don't want to swear in this video, about human rights. If you look at China, if you look at Russia, communist Russia, if you look at all those regimes that have been close to succeeding, what they gained in political power or political success, they lost in human rights. It is a simple fact you cannot refute. Also, Bernie Sanders, I believe, does not have the ability to rule our country. He has been proven to fail as mayor of his own city. I believe he ran for mayor several times before finally getting the position. He has failed numerous times. He has failed on his own rallies, being blown out of the water by protesters of Black Lives Matter, not standing his own ground and simply taking it while letting these angry protesters just ramble crap on his own microphone, which I don't believe are the moves of a responsible president. I don't believe this person can protect the civilized world from tyrants or people who seek to attack the nations or to invade them and cause acts of terrorism. This is not the act of a person who stands his ground. I don't think you can refute that. Also, about immigration and the things Trump has been called out on. I believe that immigration is a serious problem, and I believe that people who say Trump is racist are really people who don't understand the issue right now, are people who don't live in Europe. I personally live in Europe and go to Germany almost every year, sometimes even several times a year, and I can personally tell you that the massive influx of Muslim refugees and immigrants has really stirred up the trouble. Because simply stating that this has the massive wave during the last year and a half of immigrants has not changed anything is stupid and ignorant. Because you're simply ignoring the statistics and you're simply typing at your Tumblr post from the comfort of your home in the United States or Britain or anywhere else without actually witnessing the horrific things that the immigrants are doing. I'm not saying every Muslim immigrant who comes through the border is an evil rapist or a terrorist. No, that would be stupid. That would be bigoted. What I'm saying is we really need a check on these people. And I believe every immigrant, no matter what nationality, race, or religion, should be turned away if he is or she is illegal. That's just common sense. So to anyone who says that Trump is racist, I would ask, if any sort of ethnic person, or white for that matter, comes at your border and does not have the proper documents to enter your country, should you not send them away? I mean, every goddamn country you visit. I personally have visited lots of European nations as well as Russia. Even the countries with the open borders, you need to have valid documents to enter. Sure, if you go to somewhere in Europe, all you have to do to cross the border is show your ID card. But if your ID card is wrong, or has wrong or misinterpret information, you should be checked. That is only common sense. Wouldn't you not agree? So, to have a person who wants to accept thousands of refugees into your country is simply stupid. So that's why I think Hillary's policies are not only stupid, they're detrimental to anyone. Look at Germany. Look at, Brussels. Look at all these places that have accepted unfiltered immigration. And look at the results. It's not a coincidence. If it was a coincidence, it maybe happened 1-2 times. But it's happened all around. Cologne, Brussels, Paris. These are targeted events. These are events targeted by a group of people who are using the open gates of countries like Germany and France and Brussels as Belgium, not Brussels, as they're using as a cover-up for their horrible schemes. These are people who are so devoted to their books and their imaginary friends up in the sky that are violent and are murdering people who have done nothing to them. These are people who are using this as a weapon, and you're just giving it to them. So if you really wanted to stop Islamic radical terrorists, you would actually want any border control. Because the wall and other things Trump was labeled racist for are actually things that countries who are doing very well without immigration problems have already done. Ask Russia, ask China, ask any country that has serious border control and is near the influx of immigrants, and they'll tell you that they have walls, they have border control, they have took serious precautions to protect their country's borders, and they have results, which is no Islamic terrorist. Do you think there's any Islamic terrorism in Russia? Putin, let me tell you something. Putin might be a despot. Putin might be a dictator. But his people love him because he has results. Trump isn't even a dictator. He wants to get elected. Normally, he wants to get elected democratically. And he wants to do this for his country. A lot of criticism has come from the fact that Trump isn't a politician. He's a businessman. Yes, that is why he would be this good at fixing America's economy. Every single one of our presidents in the last 8 years, or 10 years, or 12 years, you want to call it, has messed up the economy. It's a simple fact. America is in more debt than it was before Bush and Obama. Bush and Obama are politicians by career. They're not businessmen. Their job isn't to understand economics. Their job is to simply exercise economics. Trump is a person who is proven to do well with his own wealth and has proven to be a good businessman. Now, people say that Trump doesn't know what to do with his wealth, and Trump isn't doing this for America. He's doing it simply for the money, which is simply ludicrous. If you look at it on paper, Trump will make less money if he is president than currently. Obama and Bush and any other president for the last several years has not made that much money if you actually look at the statistics and, measure it to some of the people who are working lower jobs than him. It's not that much money for the President of the United States. However, he or she or whoever the president is doing it mainly for his country. At least he should be. He's the president, after all. So, Trump simply does not have any economic or financial incentive to be the president. The only reason he wants to be president, the only logical reason for him to be president, is because he wants it for America. And based on what he has given, and based on what he has said in interviews, there is no other reason to distrust him, simply because he has proven time and time after what he said. No other political candidate has commented on immigrants. No other political candidate has said, "Hold on, let's think this over. Let's see what's happening in other countries and let's learn from the mistakes of other countries at our own borders." The media is scared of Trump. The media, you will not see any post on media-owned websites or television or radio or etc. advocating Trump. They are scared of him. They did this with Bernie. A couple of months ago, when he had no representation in the polls, they were simply not talking about him or shining him in a positive light. Now, because the media is backing up Hillary, you can see that some polls are trying to stump Bernie's numbers or trying to trash talk him. Why? Because they're scared of him. They know he has the potential to do something. That is done with Trump on a much wider scale. Because unbeknownst to the regular people, the media is really, really scared of Trump. If they weren't, they wouldn't even cover him. But now, because they know he has gotten these ridiculously high poll numbers, they want to do something about it. Because Trump is anti-establishment. The media is pro-establishment. It is the establishment. That's what it wants to do. So, before any of you try to make comments about how Trump is quote-unquote racist or sexist or any other thing, try to look at it neutrally. Try to look at the whole situation as an outsider. Try to see what Trump has done good and what Trump has supposedly done bad. And don't believe everything that the media says. I'm not trying to convince you to be conspiracy theorists or so on. I'm just trying to tell you to look at things from a different perspective. Because look at it from your own perspective. Look at it from a logical perspective is what I'm trying to say. Because after all, this is the president of the free world, as we see it. It's an important decision. And in my opinion, letting some paid news source tell you what you're supposed to think instead of actually thinking for yourself is not an American thing to do. America is all about freedom. America is all about liberty. And somebody forcing political opinions down your throat isn't liberty, in my opinion. So with that, I leave you to your own choices. I'm simply informing you about why I think America should elect Trump, why I think the world would be better with Trump as president, and why I think my opinion should be logical. If you disagree, feel free to leave an actual response in the comments instead of telling me, well, Trump's an idiot or Trump's a racist. If you think I'm not right, that's discussion, that's great. That's one of the many things to spar from the First Amendment. That's amazing. But inform your opinion. Tell me with facts, or tell me like you would tell any logical person why you think I'm wrong or why you think I'm right. And I hope you all have a great night, afternoon, day, or anything else. True Defender out.